Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what dreams are made of. It's time to get hyped. Officially announced Nintendo Direct taking place tomorrow. You do not have to wait long for this. This comes directly from the Nintendo of America Twitter account, where you can see, join us for a Nintendo Direct live stream focused on Nintendo Switch games coming in the second half of 2024. There will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during this presentation. Nintendo going out of their way to remind you once again, no Switch successor in this presentation. June 18th, 7 a.m. Pacific, that is 9 a.m. Central or 10 a.m. Eastern, for roughly 40 minutes of Nintendo Switch game announcements. This is huge. We knew it was happening in June. There's going to be a ton of spoilers online in the next 24 hours. One game has already gotten out there from Pioro. It seems to be confirmed. I'm not going to be mentioning any of that stuff in this video. Rather, I'm going to share my own personal predictions that are not tied to spoilers or leaks, so you can watch that without having to worry about the entire presentation being spoiled for you. However, I will make the quick recommendation that if you want to walk into this thing blind, mute Nintendo Direct Online. Don't look it up. Don't say anything about it until tomorrow morning, when you can actually watch the event live, because there will no doubt be a ton of information leaking online throughout the day today. It seems like Pioro still has their sources, because yeah, they're starting to talk at this point in time. So it's confirmed for tomorrow. I will be live streaming it on this channel again, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Central, and 10 a.m. Eastern. Come watch it with me. This is legitimately the best time to be a Nintendo fan. It's a mainline Direct, not a mini, full 40-minute presentation. We're going to learn about the entire half of the Nintendo 2024 release schedule lineup for the second half of 2024. This is huge, very exciting stuff. So definitely looking forward to tomorrow morning. But now I want to shift the conversation to what games we might see show up at this showcase, and I made plenty of videos on this, so we'll kind of breeze through them quickly. I have a lot on the channel if you want to go into more of the deep dive stuff, but this is where the conversation starts to get really exciting, because there are a ton of possibilities. We're going to start it off with some of the games that we know have code names in development at Nintendo, because while there's some controversy around Midori, and rightfully so right now, this person has at least been proven to gotten some information from Nintendo servers, and some of that info is code names of games in development at Nintendo, one of which is Banquet. And that is widely believed to be tied to a new Mario Party game, primarily because it's been traced back to the studio that is responsible for the Mario Party games, and Super Mario Party on the Nintendo Switch was codenamed Buffet. The Banquet Buffet, maybe it's something Kirby, but it seems more likely that this is indeed a new Super Mario Party game, and I do think it's time for a Mario Party game. I was hopeful we would get Superstars DLC. That never happened, so it seems like Nintendo will want to show up with something Mario Party to throw on the shelves later this holiday season. I'm picturing like a September-October timeframe for this to drop. There was also some trademark renewals recently for Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush, as well as Stretchmo, so maybe we see those ported over, or even just Stretchmo getting a new game, and then Kirby and the Rainbow Paintbrush is like, I don't know exactly how they do the Wii U gamepad drawing mechanics with the Switch, but maybe they do where the Joy-Cons act as like the motion IR sensors, you're using that to draw, or maybe they just streamline the controls altogether and you don't have to draw it exactly the same as the original game. We'll have to see for all of that. Neither one of those get me super excited, but one franchise that does get me super excited, and if there's anything here from this franchise, it will definitely elevate the Direct to a whole nother level for me, and that is none other than The Legend of Zelda, and we also have a code name tied to it in the form of Edward. Now, Richard was the codename for Link's Awakening remake on the Nintendo Switch, which leads many to believe this could be an Oracle Games remake, it could be a Minish Cap remake, it could maybe even be just a brand new 2D Zelda game entirely, but it does seem to be more in line with what 2D Zelda games get code names for, tied to royalty. Alice was the code name for Triforce Heroes, and whenever it's like a more mainline Zelda, it seems to be King, Joker, and things along that line. So this is highly likely that there's something 2D Zelda going on behind the scenes from Nintendo right now. But again, just because it's a codename in development doesn't mean that this is the project that Nintendo is ready to show. Two rumored games, however, that have been supposedly finished from Nintendo this entire time, and they've just been sitting on them, is none other than The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And I don't want to set all of my hopes and expectations on these games showing up on the tail end of the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, but I do think there's a shot that they are here, one or both. I hope Nintendo does both just as a combo pack, clearly, but we do know historically Nintendo likes to release something Zelda every single calendar year in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, with the exception of 2022 being the only pass for that rule, and we haven't had anything for 2024 2024, and they have a very light release schedule, and something Zelda would absolutely help them sell units and just additional software sales at the end of the day. So whether it's 2D or whether it's Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, I don't think we get both the 2D game and Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. Like, it's not going to be a Zelda blowout, but something Zelda I am feeling fairly confident will show up at this event. Metroid Prime, in my opinion, has the highest likelihood of any franchise to be mentioned at this Nintendo Direct, because we need to at least hear about Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered in the lead up to Metroid Prime 4. And while Prime 4 is in the air right now on if that's a 2024 or 2025 title, we know we should be able to expect some news on it soon. And even if it's a 2025 game, it might still show up with the trailer here, and maybe it's the show closer and we just see 2025 at the end of the title card. But whether it's Prime 4 or whether it's just Prime 2 and 3, I think Metroid's here either way. I think Prime 2 and 3 getting their remasters, probably as a shadow drop announcement, is the most likely scenario to see at this Direct presentation. They've been rumored for a long time. We knew Prime 1 was rumored for a long time before it was finally dropped. And it seems like this is part of the marketing hype building up ultimately to that big Prime 4 release from Nintendo. And the outstanding rumor is that Prime 2 and 3 is likely less impressive graphically than Prime 1 remastered, which leads me to believe they'll be bundled together kind of like Pikmin 1 and 2 style, with those same level of visuals where it's very much the original GameCube games, but they are up-resed with modern quality of life enhancements and all of the modern control schemes that we saw Retro do for Prime 1 remastered. 2024 does indeed seem to be the year of ports and remasters from Nintendo, so I don't necessarily think that slows down as we talk about being in the end of the Nintendo Switch's life cycle. And there are some rumors for games like Kid Icarus Uprising, where Sakurai has directly hinted at that, just saying, I wish somebody would port it to the Switch on his YouTube channel, then kind of looking at the camera mysteriously, like he's probably teasing that he's involved in that project. I think that would be a prime candidate to show up here. Something F-Zero, like a F-Zero GX remaster, would be a very welcome addition at this point in time, and has been rumored for a long time. That could potentially make an appearance here. And there is also a lot of rumblings lately with something going on with Star Fox. Now, there's some trademark renewals and a rumor from Liam Robertson that something is going on with Star Fox, but it's not clear what it is. So maybe a Star Fox Assault remastered, Star Fox Adventure remastered, a pick from the past, or just an entirely new Star Fox game for the Nintendo Switch. Something Star Fox could show up at this event, which would also be a huge win for me. Donkey Kong is the franchise that is very much a coin toss for me on whether or not it's at this showcase. I would love it to be here, but there's also a high likelihood that we're waiting until next gen to see anything DK. But you know, it's been over 10 years since Tropical Freeze dropped, so it's time to see something Donkey Kong, hopefully in 2024, but it may be 2025. And I am less expecting some kind of new giant 3D Donkey Kong game, but rather something more in line with the Tropical Freeze type of gameplay, where it's a new 2D entry in the series, or maybe even something like a Donkey Kong Country Trilogy remastered, 1 through 3 being ported to the Switch, but remastered and brought up to with modern visuals and HD effects and new soundtrack, but keep the ability to play the old soundtrack. Like, there's a lot of exciting possibilities with that. And finally, do we see anything from mainline Mario here? And that's really a big question mark. I personally think that Nintendo could show off their next gen Mario game as the show closer, even though they're saying there's nothing Switch 2 here. Maybe that one more thing is a look at the new 3D Mario, and it just says 2025, and it's not clear if it's for the Switch or Switch 2, but I think that's less likely. I think there's a small chance that 3D Mario shows up, but I think it's more likely that after we officially learn about the next gen Nintendo console, that's when Nintendo chooses to show off their next mainline 3D Mario game that will likely launch alongside of the Switch 2. And so while a Mario Party title is likely, and maybe even a Mario sports game, I'm not really expecting anything big from Mario in terms of a new 3D mainline entry. And we've been seeing a lot of Mario release on the calendar, in case you haven't noticed, with Mario spin-offs in 2024. So I think Nintendo probably cools down on Mario for a little bit until next gen, and that's why, while I would love to be wrong, it's definitely the franchise that I'm not expecting to necessarily see at this Direct. So with all of that said, that's really where I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video. Where are your hype levels for this Nintendo Direct presentation? Do you think it's going to be a blowout, awesome showcase with a lot of exciting games for 2024? Or do you think it will be on the lighter side from Nintendo in terms of first-party software, and we're really going to be just sitting here waiting for the next-gen console to launch before we can get truly excited for the Nintendo Switch or Switch 2 games lineup going forward? So thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.